What is happening, everybody? I hope you are excited to chat about Game 3, Timberwolves, Nuggets. I still have the game on. Obviously, we'll be hanging out for the tail end of the game, watching a little bit of the game. The Nuggets are a very, very different team right now. I'm going to head over to Twitter right now, retweet the link so we can get some people in here, hang out with everybody a little bit. Obviously, we have a very different version of the Nuggets that we're going to talk about tonight in comparison to game 2 and game 1, quite honestly. And we'll get into the details and the nitty gritty of all of that. Let me just let everybody know we're live and we'll see who's trickling in here. We've already got some people. If you're here, get in the chat, say hello. We'll be popping some comments up on the screen throughout the show. So anything you have to say that you want featured, anything you want me to shout out, put it up in the chat and we'll pop it on the screen and we'll just have some conversations. We're obviously on a commercial break, which I hate commercials. I have the TV muted, so I'll just be watching it alongside you guys. But a couple of things I have noticed about this game so far. It's obviously not over. And typically it takes me a while to feel comfortable with the Nuggets winning. And I'm big on jinxing. I'm a sports bettor. So if you've been a sports bettor, you know a thing or two about bet mushers. You know a thing or two about jinxing a bet or speaking too soon, jumping the gun, things we saw the Lakers fans do the entire series. Get ahead of themselves, basically. And I never like to do this with this Nuggets team because if you've been watching the Nuggets, you know they have a tendency to get a lead and start off super hot. We haven't seen that in this postseason, actually, but they really tend to struggle in closing out games, especially during the regular season. Obviously, that was their strong suit against the Lakers. We saw them struggle just all across the board versus the Timberwolves in game 1 and 2. But I never feel like it's safe to call a Nuggets dub a dub until the game is over. But right now, we're looking at a math is hard 32-point lead with about 6 minutes left. We've got KCP at the line. So I feel a little bit comfortable jumping the gun, getting ahead of myself, which I typically don't do. But obviously, the Nuggets have had a dominant performance tonight. And some of my notes that I've seen, hold on, let me make sure everyone's coming to hang out. Some of the notes that I have, biggest one obviously is that booing Jamal Murray is never a good idea. We are learning that very, very quickly. And I do want to point out, because it feels important to point out, there are a few Nuggets fans in the world of social media that have been, obviously very thankful that Jamal Murray was not suspended, as am I. Very happy Jamal Murray did not face a suspension and instead only had to pay $100,000. I say only, like that would be a lot of money for me. Probably not for him. The reason that I feel like suspension should have been on the table a little bit is because to me it's a safety concern. Had a Timberwolves player thrown a heat pack on the court and one of our players, the Denver Nuggets, slipped on it and got injured, I would be livid. I would be beyond pissed. And I think that if there were to be a suspension by Adam Silver, you really could have just made an example out of Jamal Murray that you just can't do that from a safety perspective. If somebody would have slipped and fallen on that, tore their knee up, hurt their hip, twisted their ankle. It's just not cool. And I think he knows that, hence why he really did not want to talk about it in practice this week. But I actually think he probably should have talked about it a little bit more. I know that he was trying to get locked in, stay focused, and get excited about game 3. But, it definitely was a situation that made him look like a D-bag a little bit. So I wish he would have addressed it a little better. All that to say, I'm happy that he's playing. And obviously, I am not shocked to see the Timberwolves fans booing Jamal Murray. Every time this man got the ball, they were booing him. And I actually tweeted very early on in the game. I'm going to pull up I'm going to read the actual tweet because I don't remember how I worded it. But I said, booing Jamal Murray isn't working. I actually think it's helping. I also tweeted and said that Jamal getting booed every time he gets the ball could be all the Nuggets need tonight. LOL. I tweeted that 2 hours ago. So early in the game. And honestly, it couldn't be more true. We have seen Jamal Murray thrive under not only pressure, but also doubt whenever this team has been counted out, whenever the Nuggets are supposed to lose, i.e. 20-point deficit. Jamal Murray absolutely thrives in those environments. So I think going on the road to the Timberwolves, knowing he not only played a really poor performance, but also did a really stupid thing by throwing that heat pack on the court. In doing that, I think that he was put in a position where he kind of knew the heat was on him. No pun intended. That was funny. I did not even mean to do that. The heat was on him, but not the heat pack though, because he threw that. The heat was on him. He knew that, and he thrives in those types of situations. So we're seeing that tonight. Obviously, the game is not over, but what we're seeing from him is this. I will read you the box score. What we're seeing basically is way better basketball by Jamal Murray. God bless America, because I was getting a little stressed out there. 11 of 21 from the field, which is so much better than what we have seen the postseason collectively with Jamal Murray. He's 2 of 5 from 3. Right now he's got 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Jamal Murray is absolutely dominating right now. So he better be really, really thankful that he only had to pay $100,000. The Nuggets better be really, really thankful. Update on the score if you're not watching the actual game, 109-77. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I think we should pop some comments on the screen. I know we see some people in here, and we'll just hang out and chat a little bit. We'll show you guys up on the screen, and I'll respond and we'll hang out. We've got Liv, you deserve the win. Congratulations, LOL. Listen, I would like to think that this was just the Nuggets. Maybe the Nuggets have seen my Lakers trolling and they were like, wow, we really can't get swept. After all the shit that Liv has talked on our behalf, we cannot get swept by the Timberwolves because all she did was troll the Lakers for getting swept by us last year. So maybe they just have my best interest at heart. But yes, I am feeling very, very good right now that I don't have to worry about a sweep. Now, we will get into this as this show progresses, especially once this game is over. This performance by the Nuggets, A+. Very happy with what we're seeing with this Nuggets team right now, both offensively and defensively. However, the Timberwolves got punched in the mouth and they will have a response for this. Absolutely, especially when they have another game at home. So for the Nuggets to steal 2 on the road after their very, very poor performance all postseason, actually, it's not even about just game 1 and game 2 against the Timberwolves. This is the best basketball we have seen by the Denver Nuggets in the postseason this year. We've got Peyton Watson in. I was actually really hoping that BK is actually in Minnesota on the ground there. He's going to get some sound for us. He's going to be in the post-game pressers, and I would really love for him to ask Coach Malone what the situation is with Peyton Watson. Obviously, when you have Justin Holiday performing and you have CB performing and you have Reggie Jackson performing, you don't need Peyton Watson. But I also think Peyton Watson has performed very well against this Timberwolves team in the regular season. And I just don't think that he's a player that's going to be able to grow unless he's being given a chance. And he's getting very few minutes in the postseason. And I just don't love that. I really don't. It kind of bums me out. So, he just had the ball. I was making sure he didn't do anything crazy. But anyway, hoping BK can ask Coach Malone that. Honestly, it's one of those questions where it's like, we won, so why do you care? But I really am genuinely curious because I feel like Peyton has done a lot of great things for this team in a lot of great moments, even against the Timberwolves. The last regular season game against the Timberwolves, we saw that. Liv, would you like a Knicks versus Nuggets finals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I absolutely think that this Knicks team is deserving. Mostly Jalen Brunson is deserving because I feel like he has done a lot of the heavy lifting, especially without a guy like Randall. And Randall's a very polarizing player, I feel like, in terms of his talent. Some people think he really matters. Some people don't. I think he matters. He's a vet. He has been in the playoffs many, many times before. So I personally think that without Randall, Jalen Brunson is doing some very impressive stuff right now. I've seen people all over social media comparing Jalen Brunson's playoff run to Michael Jordan's playoff run. They're saying that this is the best playoff run we've seen since MJ. So Jalen Brunson is dominating, and he's been very fun to watch. And I actually think that the Knicks as a team are just very fun to watch. We've seen them in a lot of fun buzzer beater situations in this postseason. We've seen them win really close games. So I would love it. I think it'd be really great. I definitely don't want to see the Celtics just because I can't stand them. But I would love, love, love to see the Knicks. And I would love for the Knicks to make it there because I feel like they're a cool team. They're fun to watch. And I think that'd be a very exciting finals. So I would love that personally. Yes. Let's get another comment. What are you guys talking about in the chat? I will get, let me make sure. Okay, here we go. I've got people. Oh, I've got you guys. I have to respond to this troll really quick. Oh my gosh, you guys. People are so insane. Some guy quote tweeted my video saying that I was live from the Guerilla Sports studio. He said, "No game 2 live, but game 3, F out of here." Listen, buddy, I was in Miami. That game didn't end till 1 a.m. And forgive me if I didn't want to lose beauty sleep over an absolute domination by the Timberwolves. I was traveling. I didn't want to pack all my camera equipment. It is what it is. Build a bridge, get over it, and shush. Um, seriously, what the hell? Sorry, you guys know I have to do a little flaming of the trolls. Let's see what else we've got. Nuggets did their homework and gave they did. They did their homework. And I'm going to be honest with you, there was such a mental to me game 2 watching them. Not only were they playing really frustrated, not only were the Nuggets spending way too much time bitching to refs about calls. Listen, I get it. Officiating sucks. It's annoying. But don't you dare make me look like an idiot by turning into LeBron James and bitching about every call. We spent so much time, all of them, bitching about bad calls. And I get it. Yeah, there were some bad calls, but you're now removing your mentality from the game to go complain about something that is not going to change. It's just not. So you may as well stay focused, lock in, and figure out how to make your shots. Yeah, there was bad calls, but guess what? There was also bad basketball. So come on, Nuggets. That was a little crazy. I think that they mentally look a little more locked in tonight, which is obviously very helpful. But to me, more than anything, game 2 was like they just weren't locked in. They looked so lackadaisical. They looked like they didn't care. And we're seeing obviously a very different version of them tonight. Hallelujah. Amen. What do we have going on? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Ignore that troll, Liv. People don't know what they're talking about. It's true. I should ignore the trolls. And I actually have been told this my entire career. I have been advised, just don't engage. But you know what? I actually find it to be very fun. I like engaging with the trolls. I have made it a hobby of mine, and I feel like I have become so good at it that I should add it to my LinkedIn profile because I do really, really thrive. Like Jamal Murray thriving in, back against the wall in crunch time. Liv Moods thrives against the trolls. Toe to toe. I could go toe to toe with the trolls on Twitter all night long. And yeah, I don't think I could ever call Twitter X. I'm sorry. Forgive me for that. I was thinking about that the other day because I said that on another show. I'm like, I said Twitter and, obviously it's not called that anymore. But to me, it's Twitter forever and always. Let's see what the people are talking about here. GTF out of here, Olivia. Shush up, Wall. If you're listening, Wall, be quiet. I've had it. Anyway, this was the same guy that said, no game 2 live, but game 3, F out of here. Blah. I was still tweeting. I was still talking about how horrible. This is why I can't win. I can't win. If I tweet about the Nuggets being bad and being disappointed in their performance, you guys say I'm switching up. Okay. If I praise the Nuggets when they win and only when they win, then I'm fake because I'm not addressing the times that they're bad. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Please be specific. Actually, I don't care what you want from me because I will do what I want to do, but I don't get it. It's very confusing. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's the link. I'm going to retweet this exact link of the show and we'll hopefully get some more people in here. We've got some numbers. We've got some people joining. If you're joining right now and this is your first time stopping in and saying hello, drop something in the chat. We'll put some comments up on the screen. I'll hang out with you guys. Also, you can't see them in the frame, but aren't my shoes sick? Sorry guys, super random. That was like an intrusive thought that I had to speak on, but aren't they cool? You know that pair of shoes you have in your closet that you completely forget about and then you fish them out of the back of your closet and you're like, it's like I got a new pair of shoes. Dang it. I am really wanting Peyton Watson to make some shots so he can get more minutes, but he's not doing what he needs to do. I'm letting Instagram know that we're live so we can get some more friends in here. If you just joined, drop a basketball emoji so I can shout you out and welcome you to my hangout spot. You guys excuse me, midriff. Have some respect, Olivia. Drop a basketball emoji if you just got here so I can shout you out and say, what's up? Because we're chilling. And honestly, the vibe of this show always is like we're in the living room together. We just watched the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves. The game is over 117-90. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, but let me not get too comfortable because the Timberwolves are still leading in this series and they do have another home game. So I will keep it humble. I will keep it relaxed. But if you're just now getting here, what's up? So, Liv, you still got your Nuggets losing in 5. You know what? As of now, yes. You know what this feels like right now? I'm going to try to make a comparison here. You know how when you go through a breakup with a partner, okay? And and you give them that other chance. They tell you what you want to hear. They maybe even buy you flowers perhaps, and they tell you you look stunning and they fill you up with all these wonderful things and you're like, "Oh, they're changed. They're better. This is my person." And then boom, right back where they started. I'm not going to do that to myself, okay? So I am going to proceed with caution with this Nuggets team at the moment because I have been bamboozled before by the Denver Nuggets and I refuse to look like Boo Boo the Fool. I won't do it. So, yes, am I happy about what we just witnessed in game 3? Absolutely. And I've got some bullet points we're going to talk about. I'm absolutely thrilled with game 3 and how this Denver Nuggets team did their homework, made their adjustments, and figured it out. Mostly because I could not sleep at night knowing that people already don't like that the Denver Nuggets are the reigning NBA champions. They already feel like the Nuggets are the most boring champion to ever exist. They already feel like Jokic is overhyped. The Nuggets are we hear it. We know it. So for them to perform the way they did in game 1 and mostly in game 2, it was like making me ill. And honestly, I kind of checked out of the series. I really did because it was just so uncharacteristically not the Denver Nuggets. But it wasn't just game 2 that made me feel that way. 27-point win, that's big. It is. It's huge. And it's really important. I think that they got a win this big because of the way in which that they lost in game 2. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. And I think it had a lot of Nuggets fans feeling like this is not going to go over well. We now have to go on the road because it wasn't just that they were physically playing a bad game of basketball. Mentally, they were not in it. Gary, exactly. This is now Denver Nuggets basketball that Nuggets fans know and love and can appreciate because they were mentally locked in. Some of my notes, I'm going to do a little quote and tell people, come hang. Come hang. The series is protecting road court. Wow, isn't it? I mean, okay, hypothetically, let's say that the Nuggets win game 4. Oh, guys, I don't know if I can handle that. I was actually, can this be a safe space? I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I don't want you to be like, wow, she is the worst Nuggets fan ever. I am the realest MF you'll ever meet. If I think it, I'm saying it. Okay. So the conversations you have with the bros in the group chat where you guys say whatever you feel, that is me on the regular. Okay. So I will not lie when I say that I did, in fact, say, as much fun as winning a championship was last year, I don't know if I can emotionally handle half of my summer being dedicated and being in the hands of the Denver Nuggets. The stress that I felt every time they would play, it didn't matter. I could be on vacation and I was like, the Nuggets are playing. I feel sick. Like my stomach's in my throat. I feel like I'm going to puke. I hate this. I don't know if I want to give up another summer feeling like an emotional roller coaster. Now, just hear me when I say if the Nuggets keep winning, I'm not going to be all that upset. But I have to be honest, like emotionally, I just don't, because last year, you have to remember that playoff run was actually a spectacular one. They cleaned up business pretty seamlessly, and I still felt sick. This crap that we've been doing, this like, I'm going to make you sweat it out. I'm going to lose by 20 something, but then win by 20 something the next night and remind you who I am. Like, can we stop? Please, can we stop? What did we do to deserve this, Nuggets? I don't understand. Can we not just have this cool, calm, collected basketball that you guys know how to play? I'm not sure what kind of games they're playing. Maybe right now we're about to see them just elevate and put their foot on the gas and just take it home. Do that, please. But we have to be real with ourselves and say that the postseason basketball the Nuggets have been playing, game 3 of round 2. So that's what? It took 7 games for them to actually show us who they are in the postseason. They're lucky they're still here. I mean, they have been playing, for them, poor basketball. So I understand that I heavily relate to this. So I understand that the Nuggets' poor basketball is some teams' good basketball. I get it. But the Nuggets should be very, very thankful to be in this spot, considering how poorly they've played, and they're in round 2 facing a team like the Timberwolves and coming back in a series that I feel like most Nuggets fans felt was pretty over. I know I did. Did I give up too quickly? Maybe I did. Now, this is the Denver Nuggets that I know. Yes, it is. Praise Jesus. Hallelujah. Okay, here are some of my notes. First and foremost, and I already kind of touched on this a little bit before some of you guys got in here. We've got more people trickling in, and I love that. If you guys want to go on Twitter right now, Twitter, I'm sorry. If you want to go on X right now and give this a little repost, tell people to come hang out, and that way you guys can fight in the comments and we're just having fun. It's like we're sitting in the living room together, okay? So go give it a repost. This link, the one that I quote tweeted and said, come hang, go post it. Let people know we're here hanging out. And yeah, let's have some fun. Anyway, first bullet point that I want to discuss, which I'm sure we can all agree with, is that booing Jamal Murray does not hurt him. Matter of fact, it helps him, okay? Jamal Murray, this entire postseason, has been super inconsistent. And I actually posted a clip to social media, and I said, is what we're seeing with Jamal Murray the result of really great defense that he has had to face, or inconsistencies in his game? I want you to guess what all of the comments had to say about that video, mostly from Nuggets fans. It was an excuse. That's your hint. Everybody in the comments said what? What do you think? Injury, injury, injury. He's injured. He's injured. Okay, then he shouldn't play, period. Because what we're not going to do is forget about the injury on nights like tonight. I think what we can admit is that, yes, Jamal Murray has not been healthy in this postseason. We can all agree on that. But what we're not going to do is talk about his injury when they lose and he plays poorly and is 3 of 18 from the field, or 9 of 24 and 0 points in the first half, yada, yada, yada. We're going to talk about the injury then, but we're not going to talk about the injury on a night like tonight because he balled out. So to me, the injury doesn't just come and go, ebbs and flows. I'm sure it hurts more some nights than others, but to me, if it hurts bad enough to make you go 3 of 18 from the field, or have a scoreless first half, you should be on the bench, period. I don't like when we do that with injuries. I don't do that. I don't allow people in my mentions to do that with their team, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite and allow it with my team. If he is that hurt in which he has a scoreless first half, he should not play, period. So if he does decide to play and he says, I'm good, coach, I'm good, then he goes 3 of 18, well, then we got to just be okay with him going 3 of 18 and have a bigger conversation, which is there's some inconsistencies in his game, period. I don't love him any less, but we're not going to use the injury only when it's convenient, only when it fits our agenda. No. We can't do that. So Jamal Murray tonight, exceptionally better performance. Obviously, we saw one game with him against the Lakers where he was shooting lights out, put 32 on their head, and played an excellent game of basketball. T-Wolves played great defense those nights. Can you give Jamal proper credit tonight? Sammy, what defines proper credit? Drop that in the comments. We'll put that on the screen, explain a little bit, and then I will maybe do what you want, but maybe not. I'm a Timberwolves fan, but this female is fire. You know what? You're dead, is what his name is. Sorry, that was some really poor timing. I'm not sure what your real name is, but your username is You're Dead. He's just saying, come hang out with me. And I love that. Thank you for being here. I actually think I saw you follow me on X tonight for the first time, and you said, this girl knows ball. Yes, I pay attention to people and their usernames. So shout out to you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. You rock. So anyway, Jamal Murray tonight, 11 of 21 from the field, 2 of 5 from the 3. He had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 24 points. And honestly, he sat towards the end of the game because hello, they were up by enough that he didn't need to play. And if he is still flirting with a little bit of an injury, makes total sense. So he could have been honestly, he could have had more points than that at the end of the game. Jokic was alongside him, 24 points, 21 for MPJ. We have got to give Michael Porter Jr. What's sad, here's what's sad. He's been so consistent in the postseason that we just like don't talk about him because he's just been showing up and doing his job. But we should talk about him. He's been the most consistent offensive player for the Denver Nuggets this entire postseason period. So shout out to MPJ. What I love about MPJ's game is that on nights where he's maybe not as hot, the threes aren't falling, it's a guy that I can trust to go get some boards and be aggressive and play good defense. So I love that he is a player that truly has been helping this Nuggets team out in more ways than one and doing so consistently. Now, Aaron Gordon, my next bullet point, aside from the fact that booing Jamal Murray does not help him or hurt him, it helps him. This man thrives in these types of situations. Are you kidding me? Booing him, and I get it. I get the reason for the boos, but I'm sure Wolves fans figured out real quick we need to stop booing this man because he is loving every bit of it, and he is whooping us right now. The next bullet point that I have based on this game is Aaron Gordon is sick of my shit talk because many times sitting in this very studio, I have said, Aaron, stop shooting the damn three ball. It's not your shot. It's just not. Okay. It's not your shot. It hasn't been your shot. It won't be your shot. Well, tonight it was his shot. So I think maybe, you know, maybe he stumbled across a Live Moods video. Doubt it. Super unlikely. But if he did, and he saw me talking shit on his 3-point game, Aaron Gordon, I apologize. You were 3 of 4 from the 3 tonight. Hard part is I can't trust you to do that again. But shout out to you for doing it tonight, for real. That was big time. But I don't anticipate seeing that again. So we can't depend on those kinds of moments to win against this Timberwolves team because I just don't foresee it being a consistent thing throughout the series. But I do want to apologize to you because the 3 was your game tonight. So shout out to you. My next bullet point. Officiating matters. Now, before you run away from this video or run to the comment sections to say, oh, this woman, blah, blah, blah. Listen, can I finish? Here we go. Officiating matters, but not for the reason that you think. What I think is going to be a huge factor in this series is not necessarily bad officiating versus good officiating. But what I think we're going to see is 2 teams trying to play a really aggressive game and not knowing what type of officials they're going to get and what they will allow. I think that the Timberwolves' aggressive defense and their aggressive game has worked very well for them and did work very well for them in game 1 and game 2. And I think what we saw was them getting a little sloppy, a little frustrated, a little checked out when the whistle wasn't necessarily in their favor. By that, I mean they weren't getting away with that aggressive game. Now, I'm not saying that there were a bunch of missed fouls in game 1 and game 2. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is officiating can go mental really, really fast. And I think we saw a little bit of that with the Timberwolves tonight. So officiating in this series, I think more than most series is going to matter because of the aggressive game that's being played. And I think that it's really, really hard. When you have a game that you like, defense right now is just for this Timberwolves team is phenomenal. I think we saw the best defensive performance ever, as far as I'm concerned, in the Timberwolves in game 2. But again, what type of officials are you going to get? Are they going to let it happen? Are they going to allow you to play your aggressive game, or are they going to be soft and not allow it? It's hard to know. So I do think that will play a factor in this series. Officiating will be huge, and not, like I said, not for the reasons you think. I'm not saying that the refs will call the game. Clearly, if you are winning by 20 plus, which we've now seen in both, well, I guess they didn't end 20 plus. Oh no, they totally did. 10, 27. If you're winning by 20 plus, which the Timberwolves did in game 2 and we did in game 3, that has nothing to do with, the bad calls. That's not the reason that they lost. But I think the maybe bad calls, missed calls, or too many calls and potential foul trouble, it goes mental. And that's when you have sloppy basketball. That's when you have, fouls that happen out of just pure emotion. That's when you start seeing a little bit of a ugly performance by whatever team doesn't feel like the whistle is favoring them. Do you think a series should only have one set of refs? I have thought very long and hard about this, Tyler. I really have. And there's also a part of me that thought about the idea of having officials that are just for the postseason. Because I do sometimes feel like there is a little bit of natural bias involved. I mean, I feel like it would be hard to not. These refs for sure have a favorite team or a favorite player. Be real. I mean, just because they're humans and they like sports, everyone has a favorite basketball team, football team. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, in the regular season, could you have a system where you have officials for that and then you have officials with fresh eyes that step in just for the postseason? They haven't been able to really officiate against, because I'm sure there's been players that have said something to an official in the regular season, and you better believe those officials remember that type of stuff. They probably have little grudges against certain players or certain teams. So I've kind of wondered that myself. Like, would it be a good idea to have separate officials for the postseason? I don't know. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. But Tyler, to your point, yeah, I feel like sometimes the switching up of the officials can be really tough because they don't all allow the same thing. At the end of the day, reffing is subjective. Yes, there are rules that are within the sport, but it's a pretty subjective job. So to put that much power into an official's hands at any given time in the game is very stressful. So yeah, sometimes it does make me wonder, like, should there be the same set of refs in the same series? Something to think about. Chat, let me know how you feel. Wow, big gulp. Sorry about that, everybody. Next thing that I want to talk about, we talked about AG and his threes being money tonight. We talked about Jamal Murray obviously thriving with the booing in the arena tonight. And we talked about officiating mattering? No, can't be a word. Not English. Turn your brain on, Olivia. Officials. No, is mattering a word, chat? I'm typing it into my doc. Mattering? Can't be a word. Is it a word? Define mattering. Let's see what it says. It is. It doesn't matter what the guests wear. What did matter to them? Oh, wait. Maybe it's not. No, I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. Guys, excuse me, but I have been extremely tired as of late. So I apologize for the bad grammar. That my mother, who is a kindergarten teacher, is not going to be happy about that clip. Anyway, we talked about the officials and why they matter. That's what I should have said from the start. I apologize. Next thing that I think is important to talk about is the beginning of this game. Jokic really was not stellar offensively. However, what I learned very quickly, and what I'm sure we all learned very quickly, was that he doesn't always have to be if the Nuggets are doing their job, right? Which seems like common sense. But I think there's always so much pressure on Jokic because he is the best player in the league. And he's constantly dominant. He's hard to guard because his game is so unique. People don't really know how to prepare for him. But the Timberwolves have found a little bit of an answer for Jokic in terms of slowing him down and keeping him somewhat contained. But what we're seeing is his ability to facilitate, which we know that he is very, very great at. One of the best passers in the league, in my humble opinion. I am also a Nuggets fan. Take it for what it's worth. But what we saw is that when everybody else does their damn job, Jokic doesn't need to be offensively dominating and doing what he needs to do, and they can still win by 20 plus. I think it's really important to note that we really didn't have a stellar offensive performance from our bench. It's not like anybody popped off, but what we saw is that our starting five kind of spread things out a little bit more. You had KCP with 12, Murray with 24, Jokic with 24, MPJ with 21, and Gordon with 13. I think Gordon is huge. When Gordon plays really, really well, obviously, he can be very, very beneficial. I think I saw somebody talking about how they really missed seeing the Jokic to MPJ to AG dunk because we've seen that happen so many times before. Maybe they're starting to find that rhythm again because I feel like haven't seen that in the postseason. So again, I think what we saw tonight and why I bring up Jokic specifically is there are nights that I watch the Nuggets where Jokic is doing everything, which is fine because he can. But I think the Timberwolves know that, have found ways to slow Jokic down. So they've pretty much found a loophole in taking this Nuggets team down. So when we see that cohesive, there's some games where I actually prefer Jokic to just facilitate the whole time, because I think that's when we start seeing that Jokic to MPJ to AG, and it's very, very seamless. And it's, to me, it's when they're the most unstoppable, is when you've got every piece working together. And I think what we saw in game 1 and game 2 is just a bunch of individuals playing their own game of basketball. It didn't feel cohesive, and maybe that's why they mentally felt checked out to me, is because the cohesiveness was not there. So I like a night where Jokic isn't really scoring a ton, because I like seeing him in that facilitation mode, because I think it forces everybody else to do their job. So I think that Jokic can step into a different role. He had 14 boards tonight, 9 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Still had 3 turnovers, which leads me to my next point. The turnovers really, really helped to see the Nuggets play a very clean game of basketball in the first quarter and the first half. By far, best first quarter we've seen in this postseason. By far, best first half we've seen in the postseason. I believe in the first quarter anyway, maybe the first half, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, there were no turnovers. It was the cleanest game of basketball we've seen from this team in this year's postseason. And you got a Jamal Murray that got hot very quickly, which is obviously something that this Nuggets team really, really needs. We have seen Jamal Murray struggle in the postseason this year, and as a result, we've had games that are way too close, poor first halves, and we have to get to a point where we depend on a Jamal Murray buzzer beater to get the job done. Hate that. I hate it. It makes me so uncomfortable. Also, shout out to our sponsor, Landmark Lincoln, and we will very soon have some sound from Coach Malone post game 3. Like I said, shout out BK, one of our very own here at Guerilla Sports. He is on site in Minnesota getting us some sound, getting us some content, some footage to look at. So you guys will also have access to that right away from this stream. We will feed it through the stream. You'll be able to hear what Coach Malone has to say here in a little bit, not yet. But shout out to our sponsor. Shout out to BK on the road in Minnesota, working hard. We'll have that in a little bit. So you'll hear from Coach Malone in just a bit, but I have a feeling I know what he's going to say. So let's play a guessing game. 2 home losses is strange. It is. It's very out of character for this Nuggets team. What I have a feeling Coach Malone is going to talk about a lot is the fact that the Nuggets played 4 quarters of basketball, which is what I was just saying. Jamal Murray having a scoreless first half just doesn't work. And I get that he kind of has this patient game of basketball right now where it's like, trust him, take the shots, they'll eventually fall. We don't have eventually, folks. We're out of time. Eventually is not going to work anymore. I need them to fall like yesterday or the day before. So what we saw was a little bit more urgency. Yeah. Hello, Nuggets. You see what happens when we're urgent? Love that for us. We got to stay urgent, especially against the Timberwolves, because you better believe this Timberwolves team, they got punched in the mouth tonight, and I bet they don't like it. Oh, I tell you right now, I bet Anthony Edwards does not like this feeling. So they will have a response. They will be very fired up, and they will come out very strong in the first half, I imagine. So the Nuggets also have to do the same, which we have now learned tonight, or not learned. We have now been reminded that the Nuggets are capable of playing a good first half of basketball. Imagine that. So to me, that's where I think as Nuggets fans, it got a little frustrating there for a while, because if you've been watching the Nuggets throughout the regular season, throughout last season, and a lot of people too that maybe don't constantly watch the Nuggets are now saying in the postseason, oh yeah, this is what, losing Bruce Brown and Jeff Green will do for you. I get it. Bruce Brown was huge for us in the postseason last year. But even compared to regular season play with the current team that we have, we were not playing as poor as we played in the postseason. So to me, that's this right here. It's not the physical talent aspect, because they have that. The Nuggets to me have the best starting 5 in the NBA, period. So the talent is not the issue. It's the mental, are you checked in? How bad do you want this? And are you going to play all 4 quarters, which I imagine is what Coach Malone is going to talk about. I would love to know, and hopefully somebody asks him, what kind of conversations did you have in this week? Did the rest help? Because if you remember, the last game they played was Monday. And we had a long break till Friday. Was it Monday? Yes, it was Monday. Long break till Friday. Very weird schedule between game 2 and game 3. So they've had a lot of time, and I wonder, I just wonder how much of that time was spent talking about mentality. And you could practice all day long. But I don't think that's what they needed. To me, it just looked like there was a massive mental disconnect with the Nuggets in game 2. I mean, we spent most of the game bitching about calls that were missed or that we didn't agree with, and we just weren't checked in. And the Timberwolves took advantage of that, and it absolutely worked for them. So, chat, what do you guys have to say? What are your updated predictions? Do we like the Wolves still, despite what we saw tonight in game 3? Do we like the Nuggets now? I mean, I get it. Some people don't like being wishy-washy, flippy-floppy. I get it. But how are we feeling? There is hope for the Nuggets to turn things around. I agree. I think that this game was crucial for the Nuggets to stand a chance in this series. By crucial, I mean it was do or die. And I think a lot of game 3s set the tone. I'm not saying because they won game 3, they're going to win the whole series, but on the road being down 0-2, like game 3 to me, if they didn't win game 3, there was zero hope. Now there's to me, maybe I'm feeling 40%. I'm feeling 40% confident that the Nuggets, because you have to understand, 2 games, I didn't like what I saw. So I'm not going to just take one game and be like, woo, we're good. Check, we're winning. No, I need to see this a little bit more consistent. This is one of 2 good games by Jamal Murray in the postseason. And I know you're probably thinking, did you miss the buzzer beater? No, I didn't miss it. I saw it. But from a 4-quarter standpoint, this is the second game we've seen Jamal Murray play good basketball. So forgive me if I'm not quick to believe it. Not believe it. I believe it. I just watched it. But I don't trust it at the moment because this is the second time I've seen it across 8 games. 2 of 8 games, I've now seen Jamal Murray play good basketball. So I don't trust it just yet. I really hope he continues what he did in game 3 here in game 4, but I'm not quite there yet. What else you guys say in chat? What is going on? Let me repost the repost on let me actually let Twitter know. X, I'm sorry. I'm going to say we're about to hear from Coach Malone. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Okay, I just sent out a little tweet. If you guys want to go to the link on X and give it a repost and let people know to come hang out with us, feel free to do that. We've got a lot of people in here, though. Happy to have you guys. And always appreciate your comments. Please don't be afraid to get in the comments. Even if you just feel like, you know what, I don't like this woman and I want to tell her that. Go ahead. This is a safe space. If you don't like me, all good. I'm not for everybody. Not everybody's cup of tea. I have learned this in my industry, in the job that I work, is that not everybody likes me, and that's okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just had this conversation. So keep that comment on the screen because I'm not even trying to flame you right now, but I really, really want to normalize criticizing your favorite sports team. Why on earth would I pretend like game 2 didn't happen? I'm not a Lakers fan. I don't like to be delusional for fun. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't think being delusional is cute. If what I saw in game 2, the only reason I switched up is because the Nuggets switched up. Let's start there. I was matching energy, okay? What I saw in game 2 absolutely made me feel like this series was over. Did it not make you feel that way? Because if it didn't, I'm concerned. Because it wasn't just one game that we flushed down the toilet at home. It was 2. It wasn't just one game Jamal has been poor. It was 2 of 8. or 6 of 8 that he didn't play a good game. So the switch up is not unwarranted. I just refuse to be a sports fan that is constantly blowing smoke up the Nuggets' butts. I will not do it. I just won't. So I'm sorry if it hurts your or makes you irritated or rubs you the wrong way because I'm switching up. I'm not switching up. I'm just seeing a different version of the team, which should cause you to switch up. Anyway, great job breaking down the Denver Nuggets. Very passionate about Denver sports. I love it. I appreciate you so much. I will tell you, I think that Denver sports are very underestimated. Not underestimated, just underappreciated because, first of all, Colorado's just stinking beautiful. And I have lived here my entire life, minus the 4 years that I went to TCU down in Texas. I love Colorado, and I think it's such a small market in terms of like the media attention. We saw that last year. People weren't talking about the Denver Nuggets. They weren't talking about the fact that the Nuggets swept LeBron. They were talking about the fact that LeBron was potentially retiring. People did not want to give this Nuggets team the proper media treatment that they deserved. But I do think it's worth noting that Denver is a very, very wonderful place to live. I love it here. I love the sports here because I kind of think that the Denver teams are just like humble. They have the potential to be really great, but they just keep it humble, keep it cool. You know, every time I meet someone, they're like, "You're super cool. You're from Colorado." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, are you high?" I'm like, "What? That has nothing to do with it. That's not why I'm chill. I'm just a cool person, I guess. I don't know." So I don't know. That Colorado just has that vibe. So, yo, Liv, what's up, Adam? They responded like champions tonight. They did. They reminded us that they are NBA champions tonight. And I think that what I have constantly been giving the Denver Nuggets credit for is their ability to not be rattled, which we saw that from game 2 to game 3. We saw them not be rattled. They figured it out. They puffed up their chest. They took it on the chin and they said, we got to bounce back. we got to get our lives together here. So we saw them and their ability to not be rattled. We saw how mentally tough they can be. We saw that championship energy from them in game 3. But what I worry about, and this is what I talked about when we watched round 1 against the Lakers, we were building a lot of bad habits. We had a Jamal Murray that was kind of okay with chilling in the first half, kicking it up in the second half. That's not going to work against the Timberwolves. We see the impact that Jamal has when he comes out the gates. Now, I get it. He has faced some tough defense. I get it. He's been injured. But I also just think we've seen inconsistencies in his game. And what we saw tonight was that he came out on a mission. This man thrives under pressure and under scrutiny. He was being booed every time he touched the basketball, and it was firing him up. Mentally, to me, he looked the most engaged in this game than we've seen across the postseason. Well, minus the mean mug shrug. Can't really argue with that one. That was pretty lit. But even with the buzzer beaters attached, Jamal Murray has not had a stellar, phenomenal, incredible performance in the postseason. He hasn't. There have been 2 of 8 games that I have been impressed with his game. The other 6, not so much. To the point where I think Nuggets fans were questioning, is it worth keeping him out on the court if he's 1, injured, 2, inconsistent, and 3, ice cold? Like, we're not getting any help from him right now. So what are we doing keeping him out there? So we saw how important Jamal Murray is, but more importantly, we saw how this Nuggets team can respond to basically being humiliated, because game 2 was humiliating. Okay. Wolves got comfy, played with regular season energy. Tonight, Denver made some effective adjustments. Jokic set several illegal screens. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I don't, here's the thing. I don't tend to watch basketball with I'm looking for bad calls set of eyeballs, but I get it. I'm not going to speak on the illegal stuff that was seen or the bad calls that were missed, because honestly, I wasn't watching for that. I was watching for a Jamal Murray that was having a much better performance. I was watching for AG telling me to frick off because he hit 3 threes, and I've been telling him to stop shooting threes this entire postseason. So this is the way champions do things. It is. Now, game 4 obviously still has to happen, and it still has to happen in Minnesota. So the thing about it is, it would be a whole lot. It would make me feel a lot more comfortable if the Nuggets were able to steal both games on the road and then go back home and win again. That would then put them up 3-2. I think then the Timberwolves would take it back home, tie it at 3-3. We go all the way to 7. That's what I initially predicted was going to 7, but I had the Nuggets. And honestly, I think the Wolves have just as much of a shot at winning this series, if not maybe a little bit more, to be completely honest with you, because you have to understand what we saw in game 3 tonight. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But have we consistently seen that? No. Not at all. This is actually the first time in the postseason that this Nuggets team played 4 quarters of basketball. Honestly, this is the first time in the postseason across 8 games that we've seen the Nuggets play 4 quarters of basketball. They're lucky to still be in the playoffs right now because they've been doing a lot of playing with their food in the postseason. They've been doing a lot of non-urgent basketball. I mean, we've seen a lot of poor basketball out of this Nuggets team. So I'm not going to go quick. I didn't anticipate game 1 and game 2 going the way that they did. I didn't. If you did, shout out to you, because I did not foresee them giving up 2 games at home. They have been one of the best NBA teams at protecting home court. So I did not anticipate that at all. That being said, when I watched game 1 and game 2, yeah, my initial game, Nuggets in 7, didn't feel so hot anymore. Wasn't loving it anymore because they weren't playing Nuggets basketball. Hello. So yeah, it doesn't help. I believe Joey says, go Nuggets. Go Nuggets. Joey, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, I'm a believer in this Nuggets team solely because they've done this before. They have the best starting 5 in the NBA. And mentally, they are a very tough group that I think that will work in their favor against a team like the Timberwolves, who maybe isn't as mentally tough. Now, that being said, this Timberwolves defense to me is one of the best I've seen in a while. And defense wins championships. And if you don't think this Timberwolves team defensively is going to try to lock up every single player on this team, they know how easy if they've watched the Nuggets, which I'm sure they have in the postseason, they know how easy it is to make Jamal Murray go ice cold. He's been doing it all postseason. So you had Jamal Murray with a good night, which we haven't seen since the game where he put 32 on the Lakers' head. We don't see it consistently from him. Very rarely in this postseason have we seen him consistently play good basketball and be efficient offensively. So we saw that, and that's great, but it's not been consistent. So the Timberwolves know that the Nuggets have holes in their system, and they're a flawed basketball team when defended correctly. So I think that yeah, it's going to be game 4 is going to be exceptionally tough because the Timberwolves got smacked on the mouth and they're going to respond to it. They absolutely will. And I have no doubt about that. So yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm going to be honest, guys. I did not think that we would look as good as we looked tonight because mentally they looked so checked out in game 2 that I just didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't. I kind of lost all hope a little bit. Anyway, we've got some, you guys, if there's anyone that's new, drop a little, I don't know, what can we have them drop? Drop your Nuggets prediction, or I'm sorry, your series prediction. Nuggets, Timberwolves. There's hockey on the screen right now. Avs game was tough. They kind of flirted with a comeback and then said, JK. So that was tough. What are you guys talking about? We should be hearing from BK, who's on the ground in Timberwolves. You guys, come on. The Nuggets, they're doing this to me. The Nuggets are causing me to behave like this. I have no aliveness in the brain at the moment. Please forgive me. Okay, we've got some people giving their predictions in the chat. We've got 2 Wolves in 6, I'm seeing. Rap Stallion is saying Nuggets flipped the script on the full court pressure this game too. Yes, they did. Wolves let the Nuggets dribble into half court all game for some reason, and Nuggets decided to press. So the Nuggets found a way, which is great. Just like the Timberwolves found, some loopholes and some flaws in the Nuggets system, I think the Nuggets may have found that in the Timberwolves tonight as well. Joe says Nuggets in 6. Okay. We've got Adam R saying Nuggets in 7. So we've had 2 Wolves in 6. We've got Nuggets in 7. We've got someone commenting saying, is this live? It is. I am currently sitting in the Guerilla Sports studio fixing my little earpiece that hates my ear. And it's 10:55 p.m. And this is how I spend my is it Saturday? My Fridays. Oh my gosh, you guys, send help. Get me fetch me a coffee, will ya? This is how I spend my Fridays when the Nuggets are playing in the playoffs. I had a friend that said, "Hey, we're going downtown. You want to come hang out?" Can't. I got to go to the Guerilla Sports studio to hang out with the chat. Okay? I got to hang out with the chat tonight. So, happy to be here. I have to be the bearer of bad news, but Wolves in 7. Oh, David. David, you were one of my favorites, but not so much anymore. I'm kidding. I too feel like the Wolves are very capable of winning this in 7. Charles says Nuggets in 6. Okay. If this gets to we've got a comment from Adam R saying, if this gets to game 7, bro, there's a no way the Nuggets will lose that game at home. I thought the same. However, they lost 2 back-to-back at home in game 1 and game 2. So I agree with you in the sense that I really did think that because they have been so great at defending home court, it wasn't going to be an issue. But now I'm not so sure anymore. If you guys have ever worn an IFB, by the way, it's just so I can chat with my producers. Hey, producers. My ear hates them. My ear like pushes them out and says, no, thank you. I don't want it. So if you see me keep doing this, I don't have water in my ear. I just have an IFB that doesn't want to be nice to me. In just a little bit, we'll be hearing from some post-game stuff. We'll be hearing some post-game sound, checking in with everybody out in Minnesota, seeing how they feel. So chat, hang tight with us because we are going to get you guys some footage as soon as we possibly can. That's the thing. I don't know if you guys know. I mean, I'm sure you guys could figure it out. These players post-game, they take their time. They're showering. I bet they shower. I bet they chill. They take their time. Hello. So we typically just have to wait for them to figure out when they're ready to come chat and hang out with us. Thanks for giving us fans a place to talk after the game. Respect. Joe, absolutely. We started these post-game reactions just on YouTube, and I was filming from the studio space that I have at my house. And then Blake had the brilliant idea of saying, let's try it live. Let's try it live in the studio post-game. Here's the hard part. And this is what, first of all, I love my job. I am so blessed to do what I do and always appreciate everybody that supports me. And whether, even if you hate my content, you're still engaging with it. So shout out to you and thank you, because I do appreciate it. Sports is a very interesting space because it's 10:58 on a Friday and we're still in the studio working. And we wait until the team is done with the post-game stuff. So it can be very late. But when we decided to do this live, I was very, very excited because I do genuinely enjoy having a space where we can hang and talk. It's a safe space. You guys know I like to troll. I like to talk my trash. And I want to give you a space to do it as well, because at the end of the day, that's sports. So I think we are ready for some post-game sound. Want to give our sponsor a shout out. Shout out to Landmark Lincoln. Shout out to BK, who is in Minnesota grabbing some post-game presser sound for us. Let's hear from Coach Malone on how he feels about game 3. Check it out.
A lot of guys contributed for you guys tonight. It seemed like the game slowed down a little bit more on offense. Defensively, you made them make tough shots and tough decisions. What, I guess, sort of impressed you most about the way you guys responded to the way the first 2 games went?
Just that start. Yeah. I mean, it's been a point of emphasis throughout the playoffs is getting off to better starts, not playing from behind, not playing catch-up. And I thought our starting group came out and set the tone from Jump Street. And so you win the first quarter. Then the message was, all right, now let's win the second quarter. Let's win the third quarter. And so I love the fact that not only did we get off to a great start, but we were able to sustain that. We had a hit-first mentality. We became the aggressor tonight, and it was a good win for us. But we're far from, doing anything to celebrate. We're still down 2-1. But I couldn't agree more. I thought a lot of guys stepped up tonight. Michael Porter made shots. Aaron Gordon in that third quarter made a bunch of shots. Played great defense. Nicola's game, some of the things that you won't even show up on the stat sheet, his screening tonight, getting guys open. Tonight, that was Denver Nugget basketball. And that's the first time I've seen that in this series for 4 quarters. And the challenge is to do it again at an even higher level come Sunday.
Oh my gosh, did you hear him say exactly what I said? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? It's like I know ball or something. No, I just watch basketball just like the rest of you, and I knew what he was going to say. I knew what he was going to say. It was how they started the game. It was them playing 4 quarters, and this is the best basketball he's seen from the Nuggets. He said in this series, I'm going to say postseason, period. Why? Because they played 4 quarters. Thank you so much. Thank you, TJ, for the shout out. I did just say that. I said, what are we going to hear from Coach Malone? And I nailed it. Maybe I could coach. I'm ready when you are, Nuggets. No, I'm kidding. Yes, TJ, thank you for the shout out. I did just say that. That is exactly what I anticipated Coach Malone saying was they finally played 4 quarters of basketball. Because if you remember, when they lost to the Lakers in game 4, what he said was you have to play 48 minutes. Have to. There's no excuse. You got to play all 4 quarters. So what we saw tonight was that. We saw that they came out strong. Their start really mattered, and it made a huge difference. We saw Jamal Murray get hot right away. He didn't need a whole first half to do it and to find his rhythm. And we kind of saw them go in with a game plan of we're not going to depend on Jokic to score. Everybody's got to do their part here. Everybody's got to pick up slack. Because again, I think Jokic is capable of doing that himself, but I prefer the Nuggets game when he facilitates. I prefer the Nuggets game when he is not necessarily the center of attention when it comes to offense. AG's 3-point. Listen, guys. I've already said it, but if you're just now joining, I will say it again. I owe Aaron Gordon an apology. I do, because what I have said probably 100 times in this very studio is that Aaron Gordon needs to stop shooting threes because it's not his shot. Well, tonight it was. Maybe he heard me. Maybe he felt my energy telling him to frick off with the threes because he did his thing tonight. 3 of 4 from 3. Would I take his over next game to hit threes? No, because he'll brick every single one of them. That's how it works. He's going to go 3 of 4 tonight. And in game 4, he's going to be feeling himself and he's going to say, let's do that again. And it's going to be a dud fest. I'm telling you now. So don't get ahead of yourself now and think that's going to happen often. I don't think it will. Liv, no matter if we agree or dislike with most of your takes, you still a great analyst / host and one of the best in the business. That is the sweetest thing ever. Thank you so much, Caleb Z. I'm definitely not the best ever. But what I will tell you is I have always wanted to be I don't even know if it's a host per se, but always wanted to be a person in this space that was just real and raw and honest and comfortable. I think that's actually one of my secret weapons in life is that I can make people feel really comfortable really fast because I don't know, maybe I'm easy to talk to. I spend a lot of time talking to myself, if you can believe it. You're probably like, yeah, we can tell. So I used to say, my mom used to say to me when I was younger, whatever job you get when you're older, you need to get paid to talk. Hi, Mom, I'm getting paid to talk. Love you. But anyway, yes, I really love what we are building here at Guerilla Sports, mostly because I love being able to just sit here with you guys for over an hour and literally just talk about what we just watched. It's very comfortable. I hope you feel like we're just hanging out on FaceTime. Those are like my favorite pieces of content when I'm watching somebody like random on TikTok too, like random people I don't know telling me about their day. And I'm like watching the whole 6-minute video because it just feels comfortable. So hopefully you feel like that is the space that this is. You're not always going to agree with me. I'm going to say the wrong thing a lot, but hopefully at least you know that I'm doing my best. I have the best intentions and we like to just keep it honest around here. So really, really hope that you guys feel that because that is my ultimate goal with doing stuff like this. Your takes are spot on. Honestly, sometimes, yes, they are. And I don't really have an explanation for it besides this. I have a very insanely great intuition. When I tell you, I have met people for all of 5 seconds and been able to tell my friends, shout out to my best friend Kelly, because she knows this is true. I have been able to meet someone for 5 seconds and say, something's off with that person. I don't F with them. I don't like them. And I'm not going to be disrespectful to them. I'm not going to say anything, but I don't like that person. Something is off. And every single time I am on the money. They do something in a month or 2 or 12 and they are out of pocket and everyone's like, you called that. I don't know what it is. I think women naturally have good intuition. Mine is like scary. So there's some times where I just like the Suns when they got Bradley Beal. Now that wasn't really a gut. That was just me saying you didn't fix your problem when you got Bradley Beal. Your problem was defense and depth, and you got Bradley Beal, and all of a sudden Suns fans are like, we're winning it all. What? Have you been drinking on a Monday morning? Like, what are you talking about? So that really wasn't intuition. That was just me using common sense. But the combination of common sense and intuition at times can make my takes very spot on. But also, I have said before, I will actually say it right now. I said that OKC was a first round exit. Wrong. Super wrong. So that didn't happen. I also said, and you're going to laugh, maybe not all of you are football fans here, but I hope you will be because we will probably continue doing this kind of stuff during the football season. So if you like football, prepare to be sick of me. I also said that Justin Fields was going to have an MVP level season. Excuse me, what? Were you drunk on a Monday, Liv? Must have been. Must have been. Had to have been. Because, say what now? So, yes, I do have takes that can be very spot on, but I also have takes where I look like an effing idiot. But I'm also not afraid to admit that. I'm wrong a lot. I'm not perfect, but, we try our darndest and we have fun. So, like I said, appreciate you guys for hanging out with me all the time. We're going to have some more sound for you coming up. Like I said, if you're just now popping in, we have a Guerilla Sports team member that is in Minnesota retrieving lots of sound for us at the post-game pressers. We've got that uploading for us now. And it's kind of cool, this little live thing that we're doing, because you and I can hang and chat. We actually started the live a little earlier than normal tonight so that we had a chance to watch the tail end of the game. If you guys liked doing it that way, let me know. If you're like, I'm not going to tune in until the game is over with anyway, don't bother doing that again. Also, let me know. But really cool that we get to do this. We get to talk, chat. I get to put your comments up on the screen, shout you guys out a little bit. But what we... Okay. Brain was moving too fast. No, mouth was moving faster than brain. We also have a team member that is in Minnesota able to get us some content, which makes this really fun because we feel like we're kind of there. We're getting like the inside, information here. So we are going to get some sound here in just a minute, but I always appreciate you guys. I think we're going to hear from Coach Malone again about Jamal Murray actually being booed. And if you're just now tuning in, I did say that Jamal Murray being booed actually helps him and does not hurt him. So let's check out Coach Malone's thoughts on Jamal Murray being booed tonight. Check it out.
Michael, one guy you didn't mention there was Jamal, and it felt like he got back to himself making some of those tough shots that he makes. Just how good was it to see some of those shots go down for him? And is he the type of guy that to channel those boos into motivation for himself?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but more importantly, to your point, I was asked after last game, where my confidence was regarding Jamal going 3 for 18. And I have all the confidence in the world in Jamal Murray. And he got going early. Again, I thought Nikola freed him up. His teammates freed him up, but he was aggressive, saw the ball go in early. And, to get all 5 starters going offensively, we become very tough to guard. And I think he does kind of relish those moments where he is the bad guy. And I love being in an atmosphere like that. To me, like that beginning of the game, you're in hostile territory. And, that's kind of where you separate the man from the boys. And our guys, I think tonight showed, what we're capable of and how dangerous we can be. But again, it's just one game. We're still down in this series and we have a long way to go.
Yes, you do have a long way to go, Coach Malone, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's very easy as fans of this sport to get a good win, have a solid performance, and kind of forget about what we've seen. If you're just now tuning in, we've been talking a little bit about our confidence level after watching this Nuggets team in game 3. And listen, actually, I think what game 3 did for me tonight did not make me more confident in the Nuggets. It just made me feel less scared. Like I was terrified after game 2. I was like, yeah, it's over. So confident is not the word I would use to describe how I feel with this Nuggets team right now. I would probably say I just feel a little less terrified because I'm seeing the Nuggets basketball that I know that they can play. Coach Malone said it in the first sound that we played. This is Denver Nuggets basketball. They played 4 quarters and ultimately got a win. He just said it just now. They're tough to guard when all 5 starters heat up offensively. And that's what I had talked about earlier. When you have, this is what I said. See, I know ball sometimes, fellas and ladies, and everybody else, whoever's watching. Listen, I feel like the best version of this Nuggets team is the version of the Nuggets team that does not go into the game with the mentality of we have Nikola Jokic. Yes, you do. But the Timberwolves have found an answer for Nikola Jokic. So I appreciate when we see a game where Nikola Jokic is kind of just playing the facilitating game and forcing the other members of the starting 5 to get a little bit more involved. I think it's just the best version of the Nuggets that you're going to get is when Nikola Jokic actually chooses offense second. I know that sounds crazy, but I do feel like that is when we get the best production out of our starting 5 across the board. So we obviously heard that Jamal Murray relishes in the moments of being the bad guy. Love that for him, but let's not be the bad guy again. Cool? Because that was weird. Like that was kind of weirdo. I didn't love that. Mostly because I've always been so proud of the fact that I am a fan of a team that's just so humble and never ever does anything just doesn't play dirty, doesn't. Okay. Jokic had a back shove there. We've seen that. I just don't go there. But for the most part, very chill team. They're just humble and they just are underappreciated and slept on, and then they're just really great. And then he did that. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't give these people a reason to dislike the Nuggets. We're a likable team. Redemption game for Jamal Murray is what we expected tonight. I wasn't too sure, just because again, this is now 2 games out of 8 that we've seen Jamal Murray play good basketball. I'm being so for real. I have not been impressed with him at all. 2 of 8 is where I've been like, all right, that's Jamal Murray. The other games, I've been like, who is this person? Because he is not playing well. So yeah, I mean, I was hoping with a little storyline. I knew he was going to be booed. I knew people were going to be happy or unhappy that he didn't get suspended. So kind of made the assumption that yeah, hopefully he uses that to his advantage and gets motivated. But at the same time, I wasn't super confident in. Like I said, I think some of what we've seen hasn't just been good defense, hasn't just been a calf injury. It's been inconsistencies in Jamal Murray's game. So that worried me, obviously, because I don't trust him at the moment. This is typically a guy I trust in the postseason, and I haven't this year. And for good reason. It's not like I just randomly don't trust him. There's a reason for that. Chat, what are we feeling? How are we feeling? What are you guys talking about? Let's give you guys some shout outs. I'm actually going to just take this IFB off my ear, you guys. And then if my producers need me to have it, they will wave at me to have it because I'm sick of it. It's driving me nuts. Nuggets on that edge now the rest of the postseason. I hope you're right. But I also know that this Timberwolves team, what we are seeing from Anthony Edwards. Also, can we talk about Karl Anthony Towns from 3? Insane right now. So don't love that. And we let LeBron do the same thing. What's going on? Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns right now is lights out from 3, and it's kind of freaking me out. But also, guys, okay, let me see. I just took this out of my dang ear, and now I need it because we have something exciting. Check this out, you guys. Just bear with me. Just listen. This is a part of being live with Liv where nothing's perfect. I'm a hot mess. I'm going to pop my IFB in because I told you that we have a very special member of the Guerilla sports team in Minnesota, who has been getting all this incredible sound for us at these post-game pressers. We've heard from Coach Malone twice now, and we have BK popping in to join us from Minnesota to give us his perspective. He's still in the gym. Look at this. You are working overtime. Welcome, BK. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts while you're in Minnesota right now?
Well, I know this, the 16,000 or so very fervent Minnesota faithful that were so happy to have a second round playoff game for the first time in 20 years since 2004. And they were at a fever pitch early. And Michael Malone even talked about how much he loved this crowd. And they were able to silence them really from about midway through the first quarter and keep them out of the game. They certainly piled on the refs. They booed Jamal every time he touched the ball. But in general, they were taken out of the game, as were the T-Wolves, by the Nuggets, I think, reminding the NBA, the NBA fan base right across the league, the Timberwolves, and certainly maybe themselves, most importantly, they're the defending champs, and they acted like it tonight.
Absolutely. Okay, really quick, what was the vibe? We obviously know Jamal Murray. Coach Malone said it, relishes in these moments. He loves being the bad guy, being booed, whatever. What was the energy you felt coming from the Timberwolves as this game progressed and the lead by the Nuggets got bigger and bigger?
It reminded me a lot of what we saw Tuesday, or rather Monday in game 2, where again, and I get that Tony Brothers has a reputation of evening out a series one way or another to prolong it, right? But just like we saw in game 2, where I don't think, and we talked about this on Hoops Your Daddy with you and I and Shelby Harris on Wednesday, that I don't think they were playing 8-on-5. It's just they were more focused on the refs as the game was getting away from them, and that's what happened to the Nuggets in game 2. And I think that's what happened tonight, because they were bad on both sides again. But when things aren't going well, it's magnified by mistakes that are made, or maybe you feel like it's a blown call. So then you're getting into it with the refs. And so during one of the later timeouts, we had the double technical, because you had Alexander Walker and then Kyle Anderson both get teed up. I don't even know how much of that made it to television, but watching it in the arena, you're like, okay, this team is totally falling apart. And the game was out of hand. But that was sort of the sense I got, was that the Timberwolves, instead of trying to figure out how to stop the Nuggets, they were more worried about the refs at times.
Yeah. Last thing from you, BK. What was your perspective on the mentality? Because I know you and I and Shelby Harris spoke on Wednesday about the mental state of this Nuggets team. As we saw in game 2, they just kind of seemed checked out. When you were there for the very beginning, even like as they were warming up, did it feel like mentally this Nuggets team was in a different headspace?
I don't know if you could sense that, because teams will tell you, oh, we had a good practice. We had a good film session. It went really well. The one thing we got, and Michael Malone even brought this up pregame, that they didn't like the 3 days off. It was good for the guys that are needing to heal up. So that is an acknowledgement for Jamal, for KCP, even Joker, who's banged up, guys that are dealing with bumps and bruises, Reggie Jackson as well. So the extra time was good, but that they wanted to, he wished they would have maybe played game 2 Tuesday, or played this game perhaps Thursday. But ultimately, it was what it was. They had a good practice Wednesday, and then flew Thursday, had another good film session. As Michael Malone told us, I know you played the clip of him saying he had a 2-minute cut up of all the national talking heads writing them off, and he understands why they did that, and wasn't sure whether they'd show it to the team. But then asked DeAndre Jordan, and DeAndre said, hell yeah. So they were clearly locked in, and I think they just need to be diligent with the ball, protect the basketball, and run your offense, and that will allow you to then also run your defense. If you turn the ball over, you're never going to be able to set your defense either. And that was obviously something that Malone brought up in his post game. But I went into the locker room because it was taking so long for Jamal or Joker to come in to the press room, and so was able to be there when Reggie Jackson was talking, and then MPJ, and I was able to talk to Aaron Gordon off to the side, because I asked him after game 2, what's your confidence level that this team can get things back on track? He goes, we're just focused on game 3. We need to win the next game, and then we will gain our momentum back. So I said, hey, you said that on Monday to me. Did you gain your momentum back? He goes, yeah, absolutely. And that's something that MPJ kind of alluded to as well, that the next game is the most important game. They're not worried about the game after that. So they got to game 3, and he said it'll be like that the rest of the series, and he's right. So obviously, if they do what they were doing today, not only will they have, I think, more success Sunday, but I think we will be back here for game 6 on Thursday.
Woo! I hope you are right, BK. I'm assuming after tonight, I know Shelby Harris and I kind of did a little switcheroo on our initial predictions, but are you still liking Nuggets in 7 after what you saw tonight?
Well, I guess if they play like this for 3 more games, it'll be
Yeah.
Nuggets in 6, right?
Yeah, we would love that.
But these might be the 2 best teams in the NBA, and I think certainly the 2 best teams in the West, and everyone feels like whoever comes out of this series will represent the West and have a good chance at winning that Larry O'Brien trophy. We know that a lot has to happen, and guys have to stay healthy. You know, we talked about Alexander Walker. He was holding his shoulder, and he got knocked to the ground. He's being tended to, and that's when all the texts happened because he didn't feel like it was being called fairly. But he was really favoring his shoulder, and they didn't get him out of the game, or they didn't stop the action or call a timeout. So, you know, as these things start to mount up, and obviously, like we talked about, the Nuggets are dealing with it, that will affect, you know, further series for all the teams that are left for the final 8. But if we see this from the Nuggets, or obviously the Timberwolves return to form, I still think you're looking at the 2 best teams, certainly in the West, if not the 2 best teams in basketball.
I love that. Well, BK, we appreciate you. I was giving you shout outs on the show talking about how you're in Minnesota, you're here, you're there, you're on a plane, you're kind of everywhere. Are you going to be able to make it back for Mother's Day, or do you want me to drop off some flowers and a card or something for you? Because I know
Card and
you're
flowers.
busy.
Yeah, card and flowers have already been taken care of.
There
And
you
there's a
go.
massage available Sunday as well, and brunch with the kiddos. So it'll
Smart
be
man.
good. So and then hopefully Mother's Day will be capped off with another Nuggets win for so
There
many
we
Nuggets
go.
fans out there that would love to see the series evened at 2 games apiece, and us get that long series that we thought we'd get from these 2 teams.
Well, shout out to you, BK. We appreciate you being on the road and getting all this sound for us, because I think it's really cool to get that extra perspective. You know, it's easy to watch it as a fan and try to break it down, but to hear from Coach Malone, have you go into the locker room and get us some extra sound has been super fun to hear. And hopefully the Nuggets can get you a dub on Sunday. So it's a trip worthwhile.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll make your Mother's Day better, because I know how much your mom loves the Nuggets and how much your whole family lives and dies. But great work tonight by you and all of our Guerilla sports team. This is obviously exciting what we're doing, and you know, keep up the great work. I can't wait to watch the rest of the show.
Yes, thank you, BK. We'll see you we'll maybe we'll have you talk again Sunday, but for
I'll
sure
be available.
we'll see you. Cool. Surely we'll see you Wednesday for another Hoops Your Daddy episode, where hopefully we have a lot of good things to break down with this Nuggets team. So get some sleep, BK.
I definitely will.
Okay, see ya. All right, you guys. So good to hear from BK. Like I said, he's out in Minnesota getting us all the things we need, which we greatly appreciate. That is one thing about this job. Traveling is tough. And that's also something that I think I forget oftentimes when watching these teams too, is that not only are they playing basketball, but they're getting on an airplane and they're traveling. And so these road games, it was very impressive to see what the Timberwolves did on the road in altitude in 2 games back to back on the road against the Nuggets. To be able to steal 2 in Denver is pretty impressive, especially when Denver has been known to defend home court very well. So, chat, how are we feeling? Do we have any opinions that we want to talk about? Anything that you want to share? We've got so many people in here right now. I appreciate it more than you know. If you're just now jumping in, we've heard from Coach Malone twice. We just got to tap in with BK, who's on the road. Brandon Crystal, by the way, he is a member of the Guerilla Sports family, as well as a sports analyst for KOA here in Denver. I just call him BK because it sounds super swaggy and it's easy and quick. But Brandon Crystal, and you guys should give him a follow on all things, because he's great at covering this Denver Nuggets team, as well as football as well, when we get into that world. Naj Reid was getting worked tonight. About time. That dude looked like an all-star in the first 2 games. Well, we can give credit where it's due. He is the 6th man of the year. So not surprised that we're seeing him be so efficient for this Timberwolves team. But yeah, I said after game 1, we've got to find an answer for Naj Reid. If you let this man get hot even for a split second, it becomes a problem. So finding a way to contain him, absolutely massive for this Denver Nuggets team, especially for this Nuggets defense. T-Wolves right now, I'm afraid we've awoken a sleeping giant and filled him with terrible resolve. Yeah, listen, I again, this Denver Nuggets team is one you cannot count out ever. And I have to remind myself of that as a fan. that this is a team you just never ever want to underestimate, because not only do I think they thrive on that, but I think that when the lights get dimmed a little bit, they really love to remind people of who they are and the fact that they do have the best starting five in the NBA. I think that they love moments like that. We just talked with Coach Malone, or just saw Coach Malone say that, Jamal Murray loves the booing. He loves all of that. So I think it's worth noting, though, that on the other side of the ball, as much as I have enjoyed, how do you see Game 4 play? How do you see Game 4 playing out? That's kind of what I was just about to say, is that I think that as much as I loved what I saw from the Nuggets in Game 3, I know for a fact the talent that the Timberwolves have is enough to have a response to what they just saw tonight, make their adjustments, and come out looking very differently than they did in Game 3. But what I also think will work in the Nuggets' favor in Game 4 is that it took them 2 games to kind of figure out the weak spots for the Timberwolves and how to find their way, and how to stay in a game, and how to find their own rhythm offensively and defensively, how to play the Timberwolves game. Honestly, they played more like the Timberwolves defense than the Timberwolves did tonight. So I think that because the Nuggets had 2 games to kind of get embarrassed, get humiliated, especially at home, I mean, that just makes it so much worse. They really have been able to take their time, find those loopholes on how to beat this team, and they've competed against this team and won before. If you guys remember last year, I know 2 different teams, technically speaking. Last year, to me, the Timberwolves series was the toughest series the Nuggets played. It was very competitive. We know that there's a size, they match up very well size-wise. We know that there's exceptional talent with the Timberwolves. Offensively, they could light it up at any second. They have a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, 6th Man of the Year, and Anthony Edwards. Need I say more? They're a good team, and they just got punched in the mouth, and they will respond in Game 4, period. So do I feel overly confident after what I saw in Game 3? No. Am I less scared? Yes. I could maybe possibly get some good sleep tonight because I'm not terrified. But I definitely don't feel confident. That would not be the word I would use, because, hello, are we watching Anthony Edwards? Are we watching the Timberwolves? Like, yes, we found a way to defend them a little bit better, but I've seen that look in Anthony Edwards' eyes, and he's not one to be underestimated. Like Jamal and the Nuggets, Anthony Edwards doesn't like that either. Chat, how are we feeling? How we feeling, chat? How we feeling, chat? Jamal Murray, another game winner to shut up the Wolves fans in Game 4 would be lovely. It would be lovely. And it could happen. It really could happen. Again, I don't fully trust Jamal yet, but hopefully, this is the start of the Jamal Murray postseason basketball that we know and love. The Nuggets offense, my sister is calling me. How rude is she? The Nuggets offense was flowing beautifully. It was, wasn't it? Should I answer this? Hold on. Hello? I am currently live on Guerilla Sports Twitter, and you are being so rude. Wait. Say hi to everyone and say go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets!
There you go. Do you need anything? Is this an emergency? I am filming in the Guerilla Sports studio. I am live. Oh. I'm in downtown Denver. I'm coming home once I'm done hanging out with the chat. It might be 2 a.m. No, I'm kidding, chat. Chat, I'm kidding. No, I'll be home, yes, at some point. Okay. Okay, I'll hurry. Love ya. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. Nobody respects my time these days. That was my sister. My mother is downtown, or she's up at a dance competition, so one of my sisters is home, and guys, they miss me when I'm gone. They do. They really do. Oh my gosh, Tyler, it's almost 2 a.m. where you are, and you are still hanging out with Liv Mood on a Guerilla Sports live stream. Real one. A real one. I will say, God bless Mountain Time. I think Pacific Time would be too early. Central Time I'd be okay with, but Mountain Time to me is the sweet spot of sports. It is the best time zone for sports. When I was in Miami for game 2, that game didn't wrap until 12:30. I was like, how do people do this on the regular? So I want to give a shout out to the Eastern time zone people. I don't know how you do it. I would never be able to watch my team because I was like falling asleep before the game even started. Insane. I think that should actually, like, we should speak to somebody about that. That is crazy to me that you guys have to watch basketball till 1 a.m. And if it's overtime, oh my gosh. Go Nuggets. That's right. That is right. Go Nuggets. Guys, honestly, yeah, I'm feeling better. Not feeling overly confident, not feeling like we've got this, and it's going to be a cakewalk, because that would be a really foolish thing to think. It would be a really foolish thing to think that this is going to be a cakewalk moving forward. Colorado, Wyoming, stand up. I do have ties to Wyoming. I do, and I also have ties to West Virginia. My brother went to West Virginia. I went to TCU. We've got a little Big 12 rivalry going on in the family. I'm not sure if we'll have more sound. I think we will. Producers, are we going to have more sound from players potentially? Here's the thing, you guys. Yeah, it just depends on how long we want to sit here and chat, because like I said, these players take their sweet time. They probably are in a steamy hot shower right now, eating snacks, and they should be. Hello, they just played a very great game of basketball. But if you guys want to chill and hang until we have a sound from a player, I'm happy to do that. I'm a night owl anyhow. I stay up late constantly. And usually I fight sleep. Like if I'm tired, I just lay there and I'm like, you're not tired. You're good. Like, let's find something to do. Let's reorganize your whole closet at 1 a.m. It's ridiculous. So if you guys want to wait right here on live with me for some sound from the players and you're going to be up anyway, then we can stay live. If you're like, no, I'm getting tired, I don't want to sit here any longer, totally fine. Guerilla Sports will post it anyhow. But if we want it streamed right here and you want to hang out and talk about it afterwards, we can do that. So just let me know in the chat what you're thinking. Joe's comment says, what are you saying, Joe? The defense was on it tonight. I loved watching them hustle and force tough shots. Honestly, what we saw from the Nuggets tonight was, again, that urgency factor. They came out and they started playing basketball immediately. And the defense, to me, read more urgent and aggressive. And they had the hustle. So, yeah, to me, it was like, oh, what a surprise. You are like playing basketball the way you know how to play basketball, and you won. 2 + 2 = 4. That's how it works. Feels like a pretty simple equation, Nuggets. Play 4 quarters, play some type of defense. And I feel like that's really all it takes sometimes. I mean, geez, it just feels like we've been so off from our norm. Are you saying I think we got it. They come out fast instead of that slow start. That's it. It's that urgency. It's that hustle. And I think that's also what Coach Mike Malone is talking about when he says play 4 quarters, because we have been absent in the first quarter almost this entire postseason. This, to me, tonight, game 3 against the Timberwolves, was the first time I've actually seen a first quarter from the Nuggets. They were actually there. They weren't missing. Like, I saw them. They were there. They were playing good basketball. By far their best first quarter. So, yeah, it's crazy what happens when you play 4 full quarters of basketball the way you know how to play it. When this Nuggets team plays Nuggets basketball, they're unstoppable to me. But it's taken a really long time, 8 games now, to see it. And that stresses me out for sure. Yeah, I think that the Timberwolves also did their homework. I think they watched a lot of Nuggets film and they figured out exactly what buttons to push and how to make it happen. So shout out to the Timberwolves, because they were prepared for this Nuggets team. And I'm not sure why the Nuggets have given off this impression against this Timberwolves team like they're just good and they don't have to worry, because that's not it. Also, really quick, while I've got all these people here, I kind of have a hot take. I much prefer the Timberwolves offense without Rudy Gobert. Shout out to Rudy for being there for his baby. I know he took some heat for that. If you gave Rudy Gobert heat for being at the birth of his first child and not at a playoff game, I think he knows what I know. That offense looks better without him in it. I'm just saying. Sorry, Rudy. I don't mean to send a burn towards the freshly new dad here, but I'm just saying I way much prefer, well, not true. As a Nuggets fan, I much prefer baby. But if I were a Timberwolves fan, I would much prefer. No, I'm sorry. As a Nuggets fan, I much prefer you playing because I think the offense gets worse when you're on the floor, Rudy. No offense. By the way, if you have to say no offense after something, it was likely offensive. However, Timberwolves fans probably want you to pop out another kid because the offense looks better without you there. Just saying. As a Nuggets fan, I'm cool with it. I'm glad, baby won, hopefully healthy and happy. And congratulations, by the way, Rudy. I know I just flamed you, but congrats, because that is a really cool thing. But the offense is way better without Rudy Gobert for the Timberwolves. Defense, I get it. 4-time defensive player of the year. I get it. But that offense, ooh, way more seamless without him in it. Just saying. So they got to figure out a system because they need him on one side of the floor, but then the other side of the floor, he's kind of messing things up a little bit. Just saying. Yeah, he does slow down their offense. And then you get him and slow-mo on the same court. Oh my gosh. Feels like I'm watching snails playing basketball. Yeah, don't love it. Ouch, Rudy. Not Rudy catching strays as a new dad. Sorry about that. Honestly, sorry about that. Mike Conley, what about him? What about him? Sorry. Not me flaming Rudy Gobert. And he's probably changing diapers and loving his life. Oh my gosh. I'm so rude. Him in slow-mo. Seriously. It's painful to watch. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Who has the uglier jumper out of Rudy and Anderson? That feels like a very rude question to ask because that's a very you know what? I'm gonna have to give it to Anderson. I struggle big time to watch Anderson play. It makes me have itchy skin. I'm dude, what? What? I feel like I want to get off the couch and play for him. It really something about his game stresses me out big time. So I'll give that to Anderson, but that's a tough question. Yeah, Rudy Gobert, non-helpful for the Timberwolves offense, very helpful for the Timberwolves defense. So, what do you do? What do you do? The offense looked better when you were at your baby's birth. Just saying. It's not a problem. Well, certainly not a problem for me as a Nuggets fan. I'm okay with that. But defensively, they need you. 4-time defensive player of the year. So, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Someone said Vibrant Live is back. You see what happens when the Nuggets win a basketball game? I get my swagger back. You should have seen me, guys. Did anyone else feel like they had a wild hangover Tuesday morning because the Nuggets played so poorly that it actually felt like they sucked the life out of your body? Yeah, same. I was in beautiful sunny Miami and I felt like I was in a dark cloud of misery. That's a little dramatic. It's actually super dramatic, but I didn't feel great Tuesday morning. It just felt like, wow, that was a really ugly game by a team that I really defend a lot. I defend these grown men a lot because I love them. I have a lot of love in my heart for the Denver Nuggets, but man, oh man, they made me look like Boo Boo the Fool on Monday night. Didn't appreciate that, but super appreciate them tonight because they did their jobs. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim, not Mike, made this Wolves team for. I'm tired and a little slow, but I don't know what that meant. Chat, what are we feeling? There are so many people in this live stream. I don't want it to end, but I feel like I've talked about everything I need to talk about. Do I just start talking about my personal life? Do I treat this like a therapy appointment? That's how it feels. Oh, hey, we've got Jamal sound in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, folks. Hang with me. I know you're probably sick and tired of hearing my voice. That's actually one of the funniest comments I get on the regular on my social media videos is, I loved this, or it'll be I loved this video, and then they'll do the little asterisks and it says, listen to it on mute. Okay, first of all, don't be rude. Second of all, kind of funny. Kind of creative, kind of funny. 2 minutes, we get Jamal Murray. Hopefully talking about getting booed, hopefully talking about his performance that we've been waiting on. TikTok. I mean, feel like I've been getting gray hairs waiting for this man to play basketball. Jeez. Jamal, I hope one of the reporters put the microphone right in front of him and said, "What took you so long?" Ha! No, don't do that. This is why they don't put me in the post-game pressers, because I don't have to filter a thing when I'm in here, but in there, you got to move accordingly, and I don't know if I can do that. So, we got some sound from Jamal coming soon. I think he'll probably address the booing. I think he'll probably address Jamal. Actually, like, full transparency, I always want like more from his post games. And I just feel like they're sometimes dry, but I also feel like the dryness is just him being like locked in and focused, which I respect, obviously, especially if it makes like if he plays better. But I always want him to be a little bit more. I think that I'm going to save this hot take for after we listen to what Jamal has to say. But it is a hot take, and I definitely want to share it because I do think that people will. I'm going to share it now. Looks like we're having a little trouble exporting the video for now, but we will find a way, hopefully. So let me share my hot take with you. Here it is. To me, Anthony Edwards is saving the NBA. I believe he is the future face of the NBA, and let me tell you why. Not only is he a generational talent and incredibly fun to watch, but Anthony Edwards to me is the perfect blend of humble and cocky. He knows when to raise hell. He knows when to shut his mouth. I love that. He knows in post games exactly what to say. Like he just knows how to work the media. But not in a way that's like soap opera-y. Like, I'm so sick and tired of like the little like I might retire gems and like the flopping on the ground, playing dirty, being like an idiot, honestly, for the attention. Anthony Edwards gets attention because he's simply phenomenal at basketball, but he also knows exactly how to move with the media. Like, to me, his aura, if I could copy and paste somebody's aura in the league and put it on everybody in the league, it would be Anthony Edwards. I think he is absolutely saving the NBA. He is like that perfect blend of like old school, new school, shit talk, humble. Like, I love him. And my other hot take is I feel like Ja Morant was on that trajectory until his off-court issues and his injuries. I felt like Ja Morant had a similar thing going. Now, obviously, as we continue to see Ja Morant, I think the biggest problem with Ja Morant, if you want to take out the injuries and the off-court issues that he dealt with, let's say he gets healthy and he's playing 5 seasons straight. I think the reason that I prefer a guy like Anthony Edwards over a guy like Ja Morant is because Ja doesn't have the perfect balance of humble and cocky. He has cocky. He has 90% cocky, 10% humble. Whereas Anthony Edwards has that like 70-30. No, he's got a better balance than that. 60-40. Because I do think when you're balling the way that Anthony Edwards is, your cocky can outweigh your humble. It really can, because you're backing it up. And that's what I love about Anthony Edwards. He knows how to talk his shit, play his game, and back it up. What a seamless combination. What I don't love is the talk your shit, play your game. That was embarrassing. We're fine in the West. You weren't. Never once were you fine. If that's what fine looks like, I don't want to be fine. I'm just saying. Okay? So Edwards, to me, he has an aura that's just unmatched. He is just next level. Exactly. Pissed off Anthony Edwards. This is why I'm saying I don't feel confident after watching game 3. Do I feel excited and a little bit more optimistic? Am I thinking? No, I'm not thinking cup half full over empty yet. We're not there yet. But I am feeling way better. Just not confident. That's not the word I would use. I don't know if you guys, humble with a Jordan mentality. Yes. I love that. He just plays ball and he plays good ball. And he does still talk shit, as you should. Like, hello, it's basketball. It's grown men. There's emotions. There's competitive energy. Like, that stuff's important. And that's why I call a guy like LeBron or Anthony Davis a sore loser and they're like, no, they're just passionate. No, they're not. That's sore loser energy. Anthony Edwards is giving passionate. And he can still shout out the players that he's up against, whether he got cooked or not. He knows talent when he sees it. He can give them their respect, but also know I'm going to be back and I'm going to handle my business and this won't happen again. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that perfect combination, and that is Anthony Edwards. And it could have been Jamal Murray, but he doesn't know that balance between humble and cocky like at all. Like at all. He does not know how to balance the two. And that's why I think he was on the same path as Edwards, and then we lost him because he couldn't find the happy medium. He couldn't find the balance. Anthony Edwards has got it figured out. I don't know who his PR person is or what kind of like media training he had. He just knows. He understands this game and this job. Like, I feel like Anthony Edwards, he moves accordingly at all times. And I just love that. Like, I really do. I don't know if you guys agree, but big fan of Anthony Edwards. And I'm not really sure if that's even a hot take. That's just how I feel. And I haven't really seen people talking about it, but he's saving the NBA. Maybe that's the part that's the hot take, because some people will be like, it doesn't need to be saved. If we keep flopping around and bitching about calls 24/7, it is going to change it. Absolutely. And it needs saving. Absolutely it does. So NBA future is in good hands. Absolutely it is. Future face. And you know what? I wouldn't give Nikola Jokic that title, as great as he is, and the fact that he's the best basketball player in the damn league. I would not give him that title. Why? He doesn't do the media stuff. He doesn't even have social media, and he shouldn't have to. Who cares whether he does or doesn't? But Anthony Edwards has that. Again, he's playing the game. He's playing the game on the court, and he's playing the game off the court. He knows what he's doing. He is a professional. Okay. Finally, we are uploading, so just give it a moment. Some sound from Jamal Murray. I was going to say an hour and 20 minutes. Get real. It's about a minute 20 of him chatting. I don't know what he's chatting about. I'll be hearing this for the first time with you, which is kind of fun and exciting. So we can have a bit of a raw, real, honest reaction to what we hear from him. But I'm hoping he talks about the booing. I'm hoping he talks about why it took so long to get his game where it's at, because obviously we love this version of Jamal Murray. But let me know what you guys think. Shout out to our sponsor. This Hoops Your Daddy post-game reaction with Liv Moods right here in the Guerilla Sports Studio is presented by Landmark Lincoln. We have heard from Coach Malone twice. We got to talk to Brandon Cristal, who is a member here at the Guerilla Sports family, also a sports analyst for KOA here in Denver, does a lot of great work. Give him a follow. We got to speak to him and what he saw, how he felt after watching Game 3 in Minnesota. And now we get the opportunity to hear a minute 20 from Jamal Murray himself after a great win and great performance in Game 3. So let's check it out.
Jamal, what were these last 3 days like for you on the court and off the court?
I'd say just really focus, as a group. We went to team dinner. We spent a lot of time together as a team. I saw my dad, last night, just spent family time. So just focus, man. I think, and not just me, but everybody was just focused and dialed in and understood the task at hand. And, we still have a task to do. So it was nice to get a win today and the way we won. But like I said, we got to bring that energy for next game too. And we know that they're going to play a lot better, and we got to play a lot better as well.
Vince had 39 in his first game back.
See?
Yeah. In terms of your calf, how did these 3 days help you? And did you know you felt better going into this game, or did you have to test it out and see that you were moving better?
We had practice Thursday, more a live practice, so I got to test it out then. But this was probably the best game I felt going into the game, and then it tightened up at the end. So, yeah, but it's good, man. I think at this point in the season, everybody's dealing with something. So I'm just glad I'm good enough to be out there and do my job at a high level.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Because I said that. Everyone's dealing with something. We cannot use his poor performance as an excuse, because if he chooses to play, he's got to play. And if he plays bad, he just plays bad. It's just so interesting because he's got this, again, they've got this energy. The Nuggets have always kind of been this way, though, in post games. Like, they're very calm, very whatever. I think that Jamal knows he's in a very interesting spot because he hasn't been performing well. So he knows that if he gets ahead of himself and gets too excited about one good game, one good performance, it's not going to go over well. Probably it's not going to read well to the fans, and it's not necessarily going to be beneficial to his game because we haven't seen it consistently across 4 quarters and across 8 games. We did see it consistently across 4 quarters in this game, but again, it's been a while since we've seen that. So what are your guys' thoughts, takeaways as you listen to Jamal Murray? He obviously didn't really address a ton of the whole heat pack booing situation. He really talked about the fact that they spent a lot of time as a team. His calf is not something that he seems to be thinking about right now, and that they're really focused, which I would hope so. I would hope after game 2 that is your energy, is focused. So how are you guys feeling about what you heard? Do we think we will see another game like this from Jamal Murray? Is he headed in a positive direction? Are things looking up for Jamal, or is this kind of a, I don't trust him yet, we're probably going to see some more inconsistencies? We got this comment. It says, Nuggets been in the playoffs before, so the experience is definitely showing in their maturity post-game. Totally agree with that. Sometimes I wish there was a little sprinkle of like energy with them. Again, like the Anthony Edwards stuff. He's got that perfect like ability to bring the energy, but also stay humble and focused. But yes, I do think that they know how long this road is ahead. They know how difficult the Western Conference is. I've been saying it. Who needs ESPN? We have Live. Love that. And happy to have you. It'll be very hard to come back from this, but if anyone can do it, it's the Nuggets. I agree. And we talked about this on Hoops Your Daddy on Wednesday. I said this. If the Nuggets come back and win this series, they have everything they need to win a championship. If the Timberwolves continue down their path and win this series, they have everything they need to win a championship. Why? Because they're facing the defending champions. Their defense is enough to win them a championship. They have offensive weapons across the board. And they stole 2 on the road against the Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets, if they come back in this series and ultimately win this series, they have everything they need because, to me, BK said it when we just spoke to him 20 minutes ago. These are the 2 best teams in the NBA right now. Fight with the wall. The Western Conference is harder than the Eastern Conference. Fight with the wall. So whoever wins this series, to me, wins it all. Period. That's how I feel. Liv, as a Nuggets fan, what are your thoughts on Jamal's comments the day before Friday? Did you like it or hate it? Sorry to put you on the spot. You're not putting me on the spot, first of all. This is what this live is for. I personally did not love his lack of comment, I would say. I felt like he ran from the question, which is fine. He's entitled to do that. He's entitled to say, I don't want to talk about it. He's entitled to say, no comment, let's move on. But I do think there was maybe just even a brief explanation that was warranted for what he did, mostly because I do think that some are forgetting that the situation with the heat pack, yes, it was probably just a moment of frustration for him. I don't think that he necessarily had bad intentions when he did that. But I will say, I do think that it's worth remembering that there's an aspect of safety concern that's involved in this. If a Timberwolves player would have thrown a heat pack on the floor and one of the Nuggets would have slipped and fallen, busted their knee, hurt their hip, twisted their ankle, I would be livid. So Adam Silver kind of needs to make an example out of Jamal so that this never happens again. So a suspension really could have been a thing, and I don't think I would have argued that a ton. That being said, I wish he would have addressed it just a little bit more, but I also understand he has the right to not speak on it if he doesn't want to speak on it. So there you go. Oh, how are we feeling, chat? Am I lagging to you guys, chat? I'm lagging to me, but I don't know if I'm lagging to you. If it's not lagging to you, then I don't care. But also, we really could wrap this thing. There is no way we've been live for almost 2 hours. That's a lie. Oh my gosh. And we still have 3,600 people right now hanging out. This is insane. Oh, I'm lagging. I don't know why. It just kind of started random. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's the way the live is telling us to go to bed. The live is like, wrap it up. Everyone needs some sleep. You guys, this is insane. 3,600 of you. It's like midnight in Colorado, which means it's 2 a.m. just about in Eastern time. And you guys are still here. You guys are still here hanging out and chatting Nuggets. And this is something that we hopefully plan to do throughout the postseason. Hopefully the Nuggets continue to stay alive in this playoff run because that gives us more opportunities to go live and talk about the Nuggets. That being said, if the Nuggets were to get eliminated and you guys love these lives, you love hanging out late at night and doing whatever, we could find Western Conference games to go live and hang out with each other during. So we will keep that as a priority if it's something that you guys enjoy. If you guys like this live stuff and you like hanging out and talking, no matter how late it is, I'm happy to continue this. I enjoy having so many of you still tuning in right now. It's awesome, and it makes me want to not end the live and keep going. But I feel like if I'm lagging and it's midnight, maybe that's a good moment for us to just